Namaste, moon sisters and moon brothers. I hope you're having a beautiful moon day Monday on this Pisces full moon. If you are just getting signed on to this replay, I'm going to take just a couple of minutes to let everyone know we're live. I'm going to go ahead and share this out as well. So bear with me just a couple of moments here. Hi, Lisa. How are you doing with this Pisces full moon? I know that you are a Pisces moon. Let me know how you're feeling. I'll be interested to see who tunes in tonight and what signs they are. And by the way, even if you tune into the replay, feel free to leave in the comments what sign you are. I always think it's interesting to see what signs are tuning into which moons. When we had that, the last two full moons have been Aquarian moons. And when we've had these Aquarian moons, I've noticed a lot more Aquarians, sun, moon, rising were on the transmission. So it's just funny how we tend to align with our personal moon. Lisa says she's very energetic today. You are the second or third person, I think you're the third person that's told me that today. And I myself am feeling pretty energetic today as well, although I don't have a lot of Pisces energy in my chart. Actually, water is my missing element in my birth chart. So yeah, it's interesting that I have a lot of energy. I expected to feel more tired, but I'll take it. All right, so I'm just going to update here and share this out, and then we will get started. Feel free to have something to write with tonight if you want to take any notes. This is Virgo season, so Lisa, I know you're a Virgo. Let me know if there's any Virgos on the transmission tonight as well, because we're still in Virgo season. We're in the sun season of Virgo, but we're in the full moon of Pisces, and I'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. My computer is being slow tonight. It is not energetic. Whoo-wee. Okay, let's see if I can get this link. There we go. And eventually it'll pull up so I can post. All right, full moon in Pisces. Circle happening now. Join us. All right, link is shared out. Looks like everybody is getting logged in. Numbers are rising. Hi, Bethany. How are you feeling today with this Pisces full moon? Feel free to share that in the chat. And everybody that's signed in right now, feel free to use this chat tonight to interact with one another, to interact with me, ask any questions, share any comments, anything that you feel the need to share. This is a circle. This is a collective circle. And we're all here as moon sisters and moon brothers to align with the energy at hand and understand a little bit more about it and come together to share wisdom and knowledge. That's part of this circle energy that we're a part of now. So if you are just signing on to me for the first time, this is your first moon circle with me, my name is Vina Lene Rachel. I am a moon priestess, a channeler of the divine. I'm an intuitive and a healer, and I host these moon circles every new moon and full moon, and kind of give you a little guidance. I like to bring through whatever needs to come through me, as I am that channeler, but I also like to share things like the elements that we can work with this particular full moon. What's the zodiacal influence, both in Western and Vedic astrology? I talk a little bit about Hinduism just because that's kind of my jam, aligning with my yogic lifestyle. By the way, I'm a yoga teacher as well, if you didn't know that about me. And that's actually where I really started incorporating the moon. My studio is called Mother Moon Yoga. We are closed today. We normally have class on a Monday. We have 2 classes on Mondays, but it's a moon day, and I don't have classes on moon days because it's not it's not kind of like part of the yoga life to really practice yoga on a full moon or new moon, because gravity is different and energy can be different as well. So yeah, I started aligning the way that I teach around the moon, the cycles of the moon, the zodiacal seasons, and it's just kind of become my thing. So I welcome you into this moon circle tonight. I'm so excited that you're here to learn about the moon. Even if this is your first time, you're going to learn a lot tonight. So I'm going to tell you what a full moon is. What does that mean? How can we tell what sign the full moon's going to be in? I'm going to tell you a little bit about Vedic astrology and some things going on in the Hindu side of the world. As I mentioned before, I will be sharing a tarot reading tonight. And, you know, I haven't really decided what else. I'm not sure if we're going to do some meditation or breathwork practice. I'm definitely going to be sharing a release ritual with you tonight. Just something that you can do after this transmission to align with this Pisces full moon. So we'll definitely cover that, and just anything else that wants to come through. So feel free to share your own insights, wisdom, intuition. This is a strong intuitive moon right now, so feel free to share in the comments anything you want to. Even if you're catching the replay, I do go back and respond to the comments and check in on them. Beth says she's tired and she hopes to have her energy back tomorrow. Hey Kat, welcome. I was wondering if you were going to join us tonight. I always think about Kat. She's my Libra soul sister, and we seem to always meet up with each other, either here or in real life on a moon day. So, hi, how's it going? How are you feeling with the Pisces full moon? Just curious. Another thing that's happening, by the way, I know Kat's a Libra. You know, we're moving into Libra season in the next couple of days. So we've got a lot going on right now in this particular lunar portal that we're in. So I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to do a few things. I'm going to share with you a way to bring in the elements into your moon circle. We're going to ask the guides and guardians to come into our circle as well, and then we'll dive a little deeper, no pun intended, with this Pisces moon. If you'd like to join me with this deep breath, find some good supportive posture in your body. You know, sit really tall, stack your spine. You can reach your arms overhead or not, but take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale. Open mouth, exhale. And this last breath, maybe with some sound. Just really shaking it out, settling in, grounding into this present moment. Feel gravity beneath you. Whatever you're sitting on, standing on, hanging out in the space you're in, just be here, be present, be here now, so that you can tune in to whatever messages you need to receive over the next hour or so. So this transmission will be about an hour. I usually try to stick to that time frame, but I am going to pull up my notes here just to make sure I don't forget anything tonight. All these things I mentioned before. And I'm just going to say, for those of you that are here tonight live, make sure I remember to close the circle. I never do that live. I realize that I haven't done that the past few moon circles that I've done. And I want you to know I close the circle later. And sometimes I like to leave it open because I like to kind of soak it in here after a while. But make sure that I do that tonight because it's important tonight in particular. We're dealing with our ancestors tonight. So we really want to make sure that we welcome our ancestors in. And then we also just, you know, thank them for their time and release them back to their mission in the rest of the universe. So what is a full moon? I think that we know more about full moons than anything else. Even if we don't know anything about astrology, anything about the cosmos, we know that full moons tend to make people a little crazy, right? And there tends to be like wolves that howl at the moon, or, you know, we're getting closer to Halloween, you know, werewolves, things are spooky, Halloween, full moon. It's a time when we're a bit witchy. We're here in this woo-woo moon circle right now, if you want to consider that a witchy type of thing, but we are definitely in a ceremony right now, and we're dedicating ourselves to the spiritual and the sacred right now. Full moons are also a time when our energy is heightened. So we have something we call prana. It's life force energy. It's our vitality. It's kind of what kind of gets our giddy up and go. It lights our fire. And it's that energy at the top of our breath. So if you were inhaling longer than you were exhaling, like that's a hyperventilation, and you're going to increase your prana. If you continue to do that, you'd feel a little dizzy because you'd have so much prana, you'd be pulled really up into your head. You might even pass out. Prana energy is kind of this space in the upper regions of our body, including the space above our head. And when we're dealing with full moon energy, we're pulled up into that prana because we're pulled up to the moon. Gravity is weaker on Earth. We're pulled up towards the gravity of the moon, lunar energy, and that brings more prana into our energetic force field. And we just start to feel that. And we also feel less grounded, less stable. We're less attached to the Earth, and it's very subtle. It's not like you're going to step on a scale and be, 10 pounds lighter. You might not even be a pound lighter, but it's subtle enough in our bodies that we're going to feel it. We're made of about 80% water, and we know that the moons affect the tides, and we know that the full moons deeply affect the oceans. There's certain times of year where all of the corals spawn at a particular full moon every year, or all of the blue whales are born at a particular full moon, and it goes by nature, and it's not a date on the calendar. It's this thing that happens out there. So we know that the moon really affects us as natural beings and as beings made of water, and we can be impacting the lunar energy can be impacting our emotional tides as well. So our internal waters can also be referred to our energetic waters, known as our sacral chakra, or our emotions, our feelings. Think about when you're emotional. When you eat a really good piece of food, you really salivate and you enjoy the pleasure of that food. When you're sad, you cry, you release tears. Sometimes when you're happy, it's so emotionally disrupting to your body in a good way that you release tears as well. When we're in moments of pleasure sexually, we tend to have more fluids and water and amrita, kind of that, what we call the nectar of life, that comes more from the reproductive areas. But all of this, relates to our waters in our body, and our sacral chakra is our internal moon. This is where we emotionally process things, and this is also a place that kind of gets rocked during this time of the lunar cycle. So it's why you feel a little crazy. It's why you feel heightened, anxious, overwhelmed, just kind of feel out of alignment. You feel like you're not yourself. And depending on what zodiac sign the moon is in, the full moon is in, you might be more influenced in certain feelings than others. We're going to talk about that in a moment with this Pisces influence tonight. Now, from an astronomical perspective, let's talk a little bit more on the scientific side and not so much the energetic or the woo-woo side. We're going to talk about what the full moon is and where it's positioned, okay? So my face, imagine my human body being Earth. I'm the earthly human being. I'm Earth. Imagine over here my tattooed arm with my moon cycles. This is the moon over here. And then over here is the sun. So these rays of the sun right now are shining down on the Earth and shining down on the moon, and it's reflecting back on the Earth. And that's why we see the light side of the moon right now. It's also why at night we can see a lot better right now, because we're getting a little bit more of that solar energy. Now, if you think about the alignment of our galaxy and our planets and the moon and the sun and the Earth, if the sun is here and the moon is here, that means from an astrological perspective, the moon is in the sign opposite of the sun. We are in the solar season of Virgo right now. Shout out to all my Virgos that are here tonight. And the opposite of Virgo is Pisces. So that's how we get a Pisces full moon tonight. Now in our next lunar cycle, we'll be in the sun season of Libra. Opposite of Libra is Aries. So we'll have a full moon in Aries next time we meet for full moon energy. Okay, let me know if you have any questions about that. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and move on. So it's nice to have ritual or ceremony around a full moon because a full moon is a sacred pause in the 29-ish day lunar cycles, about 29 and a half days every month, but we're right smack dab in the middle of this Virgo moon cycle or Virgo sun season moon cycle. The moon's influence is coming from Virgo, if that makes sense. So we're taking this sacred pause along the lunar's cyclical journey. We're opposite the sun and we're saying, hey, how are we doing right now? Let's do a little check-in. How are we feeling? How are we doing when it comes to our habits, our goals, our dreams? Are we taking action? How have the past few weeks been since the new moon? And what do you want to take care of before you get to that next new moon or that next lunar journey? So this is a time of release and reflection and sacred pause. And the lunar energy combined with the solar energy can be imagined as kind of an energetic fire to help us release what doesn't serve so that we finish the rest of this lunar cycle with success. We don't feel like a failure. And you probably don't feel like that month to month because you probably don't work with the moon. But if you do work with the moon, or if you're just starting, know that you get an opportunity every 29 to 30 days to start over or reanalyze or redirect. So there's never a failure. It's just a learning process. Fail forward. That's all you have to do. So this is a time to check in on our dreams as well and just say, hey, what have we been working on since the new moon or over the past 2 weeks? And what do we want to continue to work on over the next 2 weeks? Maybe you want to shift the way you're taking action. Maybe you want to shift your goals, your dreams, your intentions, and that's okay too. Again, remember, this is a time of release. So release what doesn't serve you right now. Okay. Before we get deeper into anything else, I want to bring in the 5 elements. And this is something I do with every new moon. And if you don't have these particular elements, that's okay. These are just the elements that I'm using tonight. And the great thing about us connecting here through the internet world, through the ether, is all of this energy I'm using from these elements is transmitted to you now. And even if you're catching the replay, because time and space doesn't really exist in this dimension that we're communicating through. So you have the ability to receive all this energy if you do not have these things at home. But if you do have these items at home, I encourage you to bring them into your circle either now or just later into your own ceremony, or just surround yourself with these items over the next few days. You can also bring in your own elements, whatever you intuitively need to align with the lunar energy and anything else going on in the cosmos currently at hand. So I'm going to start with the energy of Earth, and I always bring in a few different crystals, but I'm going to do something a little bit different tonight. I've got several crystals and gemstones that I want to share with you, but the first thing I want to share is simply things from the sea. So I have some seashells here, just a couple of simple. I have an oyster shell. I've got a seashell. These are all things I've collected on my own from the beach. I've got this beautiful sacred spiral I found, a coral shell, petrified. A couple little shells. I've got a dark one and a light one to represent this dark and light of the full moon. So if you have anything from the ocean, you can bring that into the energy of your full moon ceremony, because we're connecting to the energy of Pisces, which is the sign of the fish, as well as the entire ocean. In addition to these items from the sea, I also have ocean jasper. And I have 2 different ocean jaspers, so I'll just bring those in close so that you can see. Oh, goodness. That one's slick. They're very polished. Dropped it again. You'd think I wouldn't drop with gravity being so strong. There we go. And then here's the other one. Looks a little different. Got some swirlies in it. So ocean jasper is a very calming stone. Can help you with anxiety. It tends to be heightened during full moon times. So you can take in that energy now if you'd like. It's also a stone that helps us connect to water element, water energy, emotions, emotional processing, sacral chakra. And then finally, I'm bringing in a septarian dragon's egg. And I know most people won't have one of these. That's okay. This is one of my preciouses. But this is my septarian dragon's egg. And you can see the inside of it. It's pretty awesome. So you can just take that in for a moment. And I'll talk about why I'm bringing this in a little bit later. This has to do with the Vedic astrology of the moon right now. In addition to these crystals, I also always bring in the element of earth through some sort of smudging. And today I'm going to be bringing in the element of Palo Santo. Palo Santo is an element that comes from a tree that's been dead for quite some time. Kind of generationally, it's been dead 7 to 10 years before the wood is harvested. If you harvest the tree fresh, the resin will not burn. It's not going to suit you. And if you harvest it too soon after death, it also doesn't have the right potency as far as a spiritual smudging smoke. So after about 7 to 10 years, this wood is harvested, dried, and it creates a very sacred, powerful resin for cleansing and purification, especially deep purification. So we're not just talking about like what we need to let go with this lunar cycle. We're talking about like maybe over the past year or so, maybe over this lifetime, maybe over the past decade or so, maybe generationally as well. So I'm going to combine this Palo Santo with the element of fire. And I just want to note as I'm doing this that I ask you, if you're buying Palo Santo, to purchase it from an ethical source. There's a lot of Palo Santo out there that is not harvested ethically or sourced properly or transported properly. You know, and we're honoring something that's coming from the rainforest here, which is a very sacred space. So, you know, we're not culturally appropriating. We're not, you know, taking this for granted. We really want to honor this energy and this smoke from this wood. So just make sure that if you're getting your own Palo Santo, you're getting it from a reliable, ethical, sustainable source. Okay. So I'm just going to let that smoke come to you first. It's like this just single trail of smoke right now. It's really beautiful. I don't know if I can, well, see, it doesn't do it when I pull back. Oh, wow. It just goes right in though. It's like this line just coming up. So we need to cleanse. I'm sure I need to cleanse my tech. I was just saying to a spiritual sister today that I've been feeling the call to release the need to scroll social media so much, and instead spend time sharing my own content and clearing out digital clutter, because Mercury's going into retrograde into a week. Okay, so I'm going to cleanse the tech that I'm using to communicate to you, just so that we have a pure space. I'm also cleansing the room that I'm in. I'm cleansing myself, making myself that clean, pure channel to bring through whatever needs to come through as we spend sacred time together. And circling around here. And if you don't know anything about smudging smoke, it is a purifying smoke, not only energetically, it releases any of the negative energy from the air, you know, any spirits, energies that don't serve. It also helps to actually cleanse any like bacteria, virus, microbes, anything like that from the air as well. It's actually been scientifically studied to do that. So when you're cleansing your space with smoke, especially during a full moon, you're really contributing to that energy of release, and you're also purifying your air on a lot of different levels. So it's already burned out. I just let it burn there in my conch shell, another ocean element, by the way, but it's already burned out. So that means that we are good to go. We are purified. So we're going to move on to the element of water. I always encourage you to just simply have water with you. Water is nice to have, and we might do a water ceremony tonight. I haven't decided, but I've got one of my little oceanic glasses because you can see all the shells on there, and the ocean vibes. I've got my water in that tonight. You could also charge up some moon water tonight, by the way. It's a really good time to do that with this Pisces moon. And then I'm also bringing in the oil of peppermint. So I like to use essential oils for my water element because this brings in not only the energy of earth plant medicine, but it concentrates it and brings it into a more fluid liquid form that's more accessible for both our physical, energetic, and even our emotional bodies as well. So not just both, just all three. Peppermint oil is very accessible. It's very cheap. It's usually around like $10 to $25, depending where you're getting it from. It's like $20 from doTERRA. It's the oil of buoyancy. So I like to work with oils physically and do it yourself cleaning projects and all that kind of stuff, but I also really use them from an energetic standpoint and from an emotional standpoint. From the Essential Oils and Emotions book, peppermint is the oil of buoyancy. So what does that mean? Well, it means that it helps things rise up with ease. It helps you to float and kind of go with the flow, to be buoyant yourself and not feel as if you're drowning or sinking down. It also helps to let the emotions that need to rise up come to the surface. And that's really important right now with this full moon, especially this full moon in Pisces, working with the water element. So you could do a lot of different things with your peppermint oil. I'm just going to smell it tonight because I don't want it on my skin, just because it's really strong. I'll be smelling it forever. Oh, it smells really good though. By the way, you could also mix peppermint and lavender if you are looking for a really soothing, calming combination right now, or something that supports better sleep, because sleep is really important right now with this full moon in Pisces as well. We'll talk about that later. So you can smell the peppermint oil. You could also put it in your diffuser and smell it that way. You could make some peppermint tea. Just make some hot water with a couple of drops of peppermint tea. Pour the hot water over it. No more than, like, I would say 1 drop, 1 to 2 drops. But make a peppermint tea and drink that. Or, you know, you can use peppermint in any other way you want to. If you put it on the skin, I suggest diluting it and making sure that you wash your hands really good after. Don't touch your eyes, because if it's pure peppermint oil, it's going to probably bring out some of that water energy through tears of burning sensation. So just be careful what you touch after you touch peppermint oil. Also, if you have animals, cats and dogs both typically do not like peppermint oil, so you'd want to avoid it around them, especially cats. You always want to have, with pets, you always want to have like a place for them to exit the room where you have a diffuser or where you're using oils. Just don't make them be in the room with you. And also if you have littles. So if you have littles under the age of 2 to 3, I would advise not using peppermint oil around them, because it can be too strong for their olfactory system, and it causes their, it can affect their breathing. It kind of makes them like clench up and they don't breathe right. So you just don't use it around your littles or your babies. And if you're pregnant, you probably just want to take caution with that as well. Always taking caution when you're using oils in pregnancy. But anyway, if you want to work with peppermint, you can, or like I said, you could work simply with lavender. Vetiver is another great oil to use tonight, and possibly juniper berry if you're dealing with night terrors or nightmares, restless sleep, that's leading to kind of like feelings of low frequency. You might want to use juniper berry as well. But I'm going to use peppermint tonight just because that helps with the rising up of emotions. And then finally, we're going to talk about the 5th element, and that is the ether. I already mentioned it. It's this place where we communicate. It withstands space and time, and there's a lot of wisdom that comes through. There's a lot of channeling that comes through. A lot of things that people will say in the chat, a lot of things that I'm going to say with my mouth, but it's what you hear in your own perspective that's going to give you the insight that you need. And that's where the magic of the ether lies. This is also a space where you can have a lot of intuitive, like kind of aha divine moments. So we're bringing that into our collective circle tonight. So for the energy of earth, any sort of oceanic items you have, shells, oysters, oyster shells, dried corals, anything like ocean jasper as far as a crystal goes, something that's calming. I also have this septarian dragon's egg, bringing in some sort of smudging smoke. I'm working with Palo Santo tonight. I combine that with the element of fire to bring in the element of air, otherwise known as smoke or wind, and then the elements of water through just water and the essential oil of peppermint. Combine it all with the ether, and our circle is officially sealed. And with that, I'm going to open by calling in the guides and guardians of these 5 directions. And this is a sacred prayer, and I invite you. So I got an itchy nose. That means somebody's thinking about me. That's what my Nana always used to say, which is funny because we're about to talk about the ancestors. But this is a sacred prayer that you can join me in, or you can just simply just listen to or tune into. But I'm going to start by closing my eyes. I'm going to take a deep breath, and then I will go from there. So we're calling in the guides and the guardians of the East tonight. Bringing in the element of air. Deep breaths. A feeling of airing out or drying out what we've been drowning under, what's been bogging us down. Thank you for being here and bringing in this element of air tonight to usher in a feeling of beginning again, no matter where we are in this lunar cycle, at any point in our life. It doesn't matter. We always have that opportunity to release and redirect. We also call on the guides and guardians of the South with the element of fire. That solar energy flaring onto the moon, reflecting back onto us. We see the light and we feel that burning sensation. We feel our own energy on fire right now with our heightened prana. We may feel excited right now with this fire energy, or we may be feeling the need to let go because we're burning in a way that's uncomfortable. So we invite the fire in now with this full moon energy, and we thank the guides and guardians of the fire in the South for being here. We call on the guides and guardians of the West with the element of water, this watery Pisces full moon. Knowing the full moon always affects our internal waters, our emotional tides, our internal moon. We trust in this water energy. We know that we need it for cleansing and purification, to wash away the old and nourish the new. And so we hydrate in this water of the Pisces full moon, and we thank the guides and guardians of the West for being here. We also invite the guides and guardians of the North, the element of earth, our ancestors. We honor you tonight. We welcome you here on this fortnight of our ancestors, Pitru Paksha. We thank you for your wisdom, for your generational insight, for your protection. We thank you for the roots you have given us. And we ask that you give us deep wisdom now and release what no longer serves the collective and what no longer serves our personal journey with the release of this full moon. We thank you, guides and guardians of the North, for being here. And finally, we invite in the guides and guardians of the cosmos, the universe, anything beyond this earthly world, the element of ether, other spirits, the angels, the archangels, the deities, the holy beings, the cosmic beings, the beings of light, other planetary races, other cosmic races, anything and anyone else that needs to be here now to guide us, to help us discover our magic, to help us cultivate peace. We thank you, guides and guardians of the cosmos, for being here. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. If your eyes are closed, open them now. Hi, Diane, if you're still here, and everyone else that's here. And if you missed the beginning of this transmission, I just invite you to use the chat if you need to. For any questions, comments, anything you're going through right now, feel free to let me know how you're feeling with this Pisces full moon. So I'm going to grab a drink of water, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about Pisces energy. I'm also going to shift my legs here. Diane says hi. So Pisces energy. I have an itchy nose. Sorry, guys. Lots of energy in the face. Heightened prana. Pisces is the sign of the fish. It's the sign of the whole ocean. It's the sign of the dreamer. And it's ruled by the planet Neptune, the planet of dreams, the planet of illusion, the planet where the veil is already thin and currently is spinning backwards. Neptune is in retrogrades, so the veil is even thinner. And full moons kind of get a rep for being spooky and witchy because it's also a time when the veil is thin and we can connect to the other side. So this Pisces full moon is asking us to work in liminal spaces, to work with meditation, yoga nidra, to work with our dreams, doing dream work, lucid dreaming, inviting in our inner child, our ancestors into our dreams for understanding and deep healing. Doing the same in our other forms of hypnosis or ways for us to shift our brain waves and our state of frequency. This is also a time to dive into deep shadow work, being the sign of the ocean. Diving into your own dark, emotional, watery depths, the places that are a little scary, the places that maybe you've never been before. But this Pisces full moon is inviting you to do it. Because you need to navigate your waters. You need to chart your, inner oceans, if you will. Be your own explorer. And, understand yourself more. Pisces is a sign of deep feeling. All of that water energy connected to the sacral chakra. It leads to a lot of feels. How many of you have been feeling a lot today, over the past few days? Maybe you feel a lot in the future, in the next few days. Who knows? But it's a time when we're kind of in that emotional water. And how we react to it is really up to us. Do you feel like you're drowning? Is it hard to breathe? To come up for air? Are you anxious? Are you panicky? Side note, I have a beautiful 90-minute free stress and anxiety relief workshop available for replay through the month of September. Go snatch it up, vinalene.com/free workshop. You get it in my emails. I post it on my social medias. It's in my link tree, all of that. But if you're feeling like you can't breathe right now, that's because you're drowning in your emotional waters. And sisters and brothers, you need to process. You need to cry. You need to scream. You need to have healthy rage. You need to reflect. And then you need to come up for air and find dry land. And that's why you have to explore it all, because if you stay in one spot, treading water, fighting the current, fighting the riptide, you're never going to get anywhere. But if you allow yourself to just float a little, to just give yourself a little grace and peace and ease and say, hey, I'm an emotional human being having an empathetic emotional process. And that's part of this journey my spirit chose. And it's tough sometimes. It's tough. But I'm going to float through it, and I'm going to go with the flow, and I'm going to trust that it's all in divine timing through this river of time. Past, present, future. Flow through it. It makes it a little bit easier. And when you do that, you find land. You run into it. And you can come out. You can ground in. You can find more stability. And from there, you can grow. Think about a piece of land that gets flooded. Everything gets washed away. Sometimes our lives are like that. Sometimes we feel like everything is falling apart, nothing is working, that nothing's ever going to be right again. You know, we're drowning in our feelings, our sorrows, our emotional waters. Oh, woe is me. But eventually the waters recede and the sun comes out and the earth dries out and things grow again, sometimes for the better. Sometimes that land was toxic or polluted and it needed to be purified and washed away. And that's the energy that we're in with this Pisces moon now. So trust in, the waters that come out of you right now, because they're cleansing you, they're purifying you. They're helping you to get rid of what doesn't serve so that you can grow. I think about, I don't know why this is coming up right now, but I think about the parrotfish in the ocean eats sand, or it eats whatever it eats, but it poops sand. That's what I'm getting at. And there's like all these islands that have been literally created from parrotfish poop sand. They're thriving islands, tropical with trees and flora and fauna and, the works. And it came out of this very watery, rose up literally from the waters, from shit. That is the message that the universe wants me to share right now. But man, what if we view it like that, And I've talked about this in other perspectives too. And by the way, we are in Virgo season. The sun season of Virgo it's an earth sign, loves plants. Plants need fertilizer. A lot of Virgos love gardening. You got to have that fertilizer, right? You got to have something. And ironically, sometimes fertilizer is made of fish. But you got to have that fertilizer to help things grow, right? And that fertilizer is a recycled product. It's energy that's been transformed into something else. And maybe it was toxic to that individual being, but to something else it was useful. Or it was transformed into something that was useful. So that is the perfect transition. Thank you, universe, because I want to talk about autumnal equinox, Mabon, which is coming up in 2 days, the first day of fall. Diane said too much. Diane, you're a water sign. You got to go with that flow, right? Scorpio energy. I'm sure you appreciate the dark humor. So, autumnal equinox, the time of fall, the time of letting go. The trees are drying up. They're shedding their leaves. Grass is going to die. The crops are harvested, or the grasses are, like the grains are drying out. They're dying. Everything's kind of dying right now. Energy of things is kind of dying. There's migrations happening right now with the hummingbirds and the monarchs, the geese pretty soon, and the robins. And, there's less energy in that perspective, or that vibration, or that frequency of spring and summer. And it's a time of the death of things. And I was talking about this in my moon musings today, that, the death of things isn't always bad. We are in a very potent, like, life, death, rebirth cycle when we go through a seasonal shift. So all these leaves that die and fall to the ground and form in these piles everywhere, there's a lot of little bugs and critters and, little rodents and things that live in those piles of leaves because they create a lot of insulation and warmth and thermal energy naturally. So they're dead to the trees. They no longer serve, but they're so useful to all of these little earth beings that the trees are connected to through this earth energy, and that's just one example, but it's this, time to prepare ourselves to let go of things because we know that that energy can be transformed into something useful for something else. And we just have to trust in that. This is a time where we start to prepare for being indoors more or being with ourselves more and more isolated, especially I think this time around, just with the heightened awareness of disease and infection. I think that we're more aware of the need to socially isolate a little bit or just be with ourselves. And, with that comes a death of the way we were doing things and socializing and living and partying and kind of that summer fun energy. And all of this death has a little bit of a grieving process, but, grieve with gratitude and grieve with love and say, hey, I'm a little sad, that this is leaving because, again, like, I have attachment because I'm a human body having a human experience. But when I can, allow this attachment to be less and less and understand that it's for a higher purpose, it makes it all a little bit easier. So, trust in the shift of things and use this full moon as a time to let go of whatever you need to let go of from the previous season of summer so that you can embrace fall with full joy, with full excitement. Be excited about the unknown future because it's a place where you get a blank slate to kind of redesign your life. You can develop new habits, rituals, ceremonies, routines. You can get into new things, learn new things. It's a different time. So with the autumnal equinox, there will also be a shift into Libra season. We're going to be letting go of Virgo season in the next couple of days, moving to Libra, which is a sign of harmony and balance. It's the scales. So this full moon is also inviting you into a portal of letting go of anything that's standing in your way of balance. Being in this in-between space, liminal spaces. It's funny how all of this aligns with this Pisces energy of the full moon. So I always call this kind of the sacred pause or the in-between. It's the space in between the breath. We're going to do a breathwork practice tonight. I finally made a decision. We're going to do a breathwork practice. We'll do it in a minute. But we're in the space of the in-between, and we need to honor this. We're in between seasons. We're right in the middle of a lunar cycle. We're in between zodiacal seasons. There's a lot of shifting going on right now, and we're feeling the shift of it in our emotional tides. So, this is a potent time to ground, to find more stability. And then also embrace that shift as a time to dream. So I mentioned Pisces is the sign of the dreamer and ruled by Neptune, where the veil is thin. Well, not only is the veil thin for us to actually dream, but for us to really co-create our reality. Neptune's going to ask you to believe in magic, especially when it goes retrograde. Have you had a lot of magical things happen over the past few months? I've been saying every day I think there's a glitch in the matrix. There's been some weird things. My manifesting abilities are really strong. I say something and then it happens, or I see something and then it happens, or it's just kind of weird, these connections that are happening. But there's a lot of magic around us right now, and we can, not only have this blank slate to create and dream, but we can really believe that we can bring that dream into our actual reality. So, this full moon is shining light on our magic and our ability to manifest our co-creative energy. During retrograde season, a lot of things come up. not only is Neptune in retrograde, but other planets are in retrograde right now too. And a lot of our past is coming up, bringing up more emotions, more of those waters. But, I invite you to look at things in a different way. Don't look at it with regret, remorse, sadness, grief, attachment. Look at everything that comes up right now as an example, as a lesson, as a teaching opportunity, a place to find wisdom. Because you can take everything that's rising up right now during this retrograde season, and you can especially use this time of liminal space, the time when the veil is thin, the time when your magic is strong, to learn from your past and change and do things differently. Really bring it into your mind how you want to be different. How do you want your life to be? How do you want to live every single day? How do you want to carry out your life mission? Your karma, your dharma. How do you want all of that to play out over the rest of your life? This is the time to really start to think about that. And especially now when we're in this time when, things are different. It's 2021, we're going to 2022, and the past 2 years have made us make a major shift in how we live and how we operate and how we do things on this earthly planet. So yeah, this is just a time for us to really tune into our dreams, using the Pisces moon, influencing us to really go after it as well. Believe in it, have a faith that we can achieve anything that we put our mind to, or anything that we desire out of our heart. Just checking in on the time there. Okay, so I want to shift just really quickly to the Vedic side of things, to the Hindu side of the world, because there's a couple of things that are going on right now. The first one is Pitru Paksha. This full moon is the fortnight of our ancestors. I mentioned this in our sacred prayer, inviting in the guides and the guardians. But this is a time for us to honor our ancestors and invite them in, invite in their wisdom, invite them to join us in dreams where they can really connect to us, invite them to show us signs and guide us along our true path and our true journey where we need to go. This Pitru Paksha is a potent time, and it goes over the next 2 weeks until the next new moon, the new moon in Libra on October 6th. So it's time to turn within. It's a time to look to our roots, our generational history, our ancestry. Lisa, I bet you're loving this. But this is a time to go back into our roots and learn our stories and find the wisdom out of that, and how we can change for the good, how we can kind of like make our family proud and make our ancestors proud and purify our bloodline. So again, that watery energy of the full moon, we're using that to purify our own internal waters through our blood, our circulation, but our energetic bloodline as well. Healing ancestral karma, generational trauma, releasing those things and healing them so that we don't pass them forward. In Vedic astrology, this moon is also in Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. This is a particular lunar mansion around the constellation of Pisces, and it's known as the star of happiness or the star of success. Uttara kind of means lucky or blessed, and Pada means feet or roots, or you can think about this as blessed ancestry, right? Like you are the gold, you are lucky, you are so lucky to have the opportunity to break the karma. So when all of this stuff rises up from your emotional waters, when all of this stuff rises up from your past during retrograde season, all these memories, all these things you've been through, all your experiences, all of the karma that you've already reaped, all of the action and maybe lack of action that you've taken, all of your failures, when all of these things start to rise up to the surface, how blessed are you to be able to break the cycle and the pattern of self-sabotage? How lucky are you to be the chosen one in your bloodline and your ancestry to make the change and rise up into a higher frequency and a higher evolution? How blessed and lucky are you? I have chills, so I know this is the message. But how blessed and lucky are you to be the one to provide a better life for your children, for their children. And maybe this isn't even your children. Maybe it's your nieces, your nephews. Maybe it's your little brother or little sister that you volunteer to be with. Maybe it's somebody outside of your family. Maybe this is generational. How blessed are we as a collective to be going through this shift into the new earth and the new golden age? To go through all of this deep learning now. It's tough. Yes, it's tough. But it's time. It's time for us to learn what we need to learn, those hard knock life lessons, so that we can move forward into a better earth, a better reality. This is that co-creative magic that we have as well. Uttara Bhadrapada, it's ruled by kind of a dragon-like serpent. And this is where that septarian dragon's egg comes in, dragon energy. And I find this interesting because recently I was doing Reiki with a client a couple of months ago now, and we discovered that she's got big dragon energy with her. And before we, I didn't invite in a dragon. I just let whatever beings come, especially spirit guides and spirit animals and spirit beings. But she had asked for deep sacred protection, like a lot of protection, like my ancestors, my angels, my, whatever needs to be with me needs to protect me. And out of that came this dragon. And it was my first time encountering dragon energy. I've never been in contact with a dragon from the other side in the liminal space, which is where I go when I'm practicing Reiki. It's big magic, y'all. It's ancient magic, and it's unexplainable magic. I can feel it. And if you're there and if you've ever felt it, please let me know. Please put it in the comments if you've experienced dragon energy, dragon magic. But it's very protective and potent. And this Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra, ruled by this dragon-like, snake-like serpent that rules the Kundalini, by the way, the space that rises up from your root chakra. I believe that the dragons are our ancestors. I believe that they're our ancestors. I really do now. And I believe that when we really call on ancient ancestral protection, like I'm talking centuries of generations down the line, I think we're getting into that dragon magic and that dragon protection. So, the blessed roots, or the lucky roots that we have, remind us that the dragon magic is within us as well. So you can call on your ancestors to protect you, and you can call on deep dragon magic to protect you, but also remember it's inside of you. And it resides within that water energy and within that earth energy that kind of is our root and sacral spaces, where the Kundalini nests and begins to merge and rise. This is a whole other topic. I want to start talking about snake and Kundalini and dragon stuff. We're going to talk about that in the future through podcasts and IGTVs and all that. But yeah, dragon magic is here. And I think it's here to stay. I really do. But I think we're really seeing it with this Uttara Bhadrapada moon, with this Neptune ruled Pisces moon. Neptune is the planet of magic. Okay. So believing in the things that are a little magical, dragons and unicorns and fairies and all of that. Earthly magical beings as well. I think that's really important right now because we're combining that energy of Virgo earth and Pisces water. So it's kind of the original places, like our earth core, and the water was the original earth, and then the land came up out of it. We kind of already went there and talked about that with evolution. With more understanding, we find more land, right? We find more ground and stability. So we root down more. It's all tied to the energetic and the spiritual if you look at it that way. But yeah, we've got this opportunity right now to, you know, kind of have a spiritual truth or a spiritual awakening. Remember that we have the magic inside as well. We have the protection. We can cultivate it from the inside of us just as much as we can ask for it from the outside. As within, so without. As above, so below. Okay, so I think this is enough for tonight as far as talking about the moon. But if you have any questions, please let me know. We're going to do a quick breathwork practice. We're coming up on our hour here, and then I'm going to do the tarot reading. We're going to go about 75 minutes tonight, and that's okay. You can always catch the recording, by the way. If you can't tune in now, you can catch the recording on YouTube and my website later on. It's all good. So I want us to do a breathwork practice. I think that's what we need more than anything else right now. And then I'm going to talk about the tarot. So as we did before, I want you to find supportive posture wherever you are if you're going to be doing this breathwork practice. If you're able to close your eyes, close your eyes if it's safely. If it's not safe, I can't talk tonight. Mercury is stationing. Sorry, guys. I was born in a Mercury retrograde. I'm feeling it. If it's not safe for you to close your eyes, please do not do so. I just always feel silly saying that. There's my Mercury throat chakra truth. Duh, don't close your eyes. Like if you're driving, but I digress. If you can close your eyes, find supportive posture. And you can rest your hands wherever feels most natural, maybe closer to like your low belly. I'm just going to kind of interlace my hands on my low belly here. I want you to relax. Just take a moment to soften your body. Be like water. Soften up, be fluid. Let your breath flow like water in and out, however it wants to. It's okay if it's not balanced. We're not in that energy of autumnal equinox, of Libra season just yet. We're on the cusp of it. And we're using this full moon to release what we need to achieve more balance. So if that includes things that block the balance of your breath, try to let them go. It's okay if you can't. Just breathe. Just breathe and be here now. In this sacred space. In this heightened prana, in this circle of lunar energy. Be here. And as you breathe, just start to notice your inhale, your exhale, and the spaces in between. As you inhale, just before you pause to release the breath, tune in. As you exhale, as you pause before receiving another breath, tune in. Let this be not a 2-part breath, but a 3-part or maybe 4-part breath. The inhale, the exhale, the in-between. Or the inhale, the in-between, the exhale, the in-between. Liminal spaces. Sacred pauses where magic resides if we just tune in and notice and become aware and listen. Look at what you just created. A deeper breath. A different breath. more space in between your breath. You have the power and the potent ability to create it. It all comes from the spaces in between where we cannot see, we cannot explain, we cannot quite put a mark on it, but we can feel. Feel your breath and all of its space and all of its energy. Feel it with the energy of this Pisces full moon. Soften into those in-between spaces. Release tension from your body. Expand as you breathe. As you inhale, use the breath to create more space. As you exhale, use the relaxation to sink into those new spaces. Keep creating, using the magic of the in-between. As you lengthen the spaces between your breath. Take a few more rounds. When you're ready, gently blink your eyes open. Welcome back. How do you feel? If you, by the way, experience anxiety or panic states, that breath can be really useful for you to find that sacred pause or slowing down sensation. And if you can't do it just by sensing or feeling, you can also count. A 4, it could be equal, although I find that equal puts too much pressure on me sometimes because it's hard to be equal in your breath. It stresses you out, and then you hyperventilate, and then you're not equal. So I like to do maybe like a 4, 5, 6, or more popular is a 4, 7, 8 breath. So you breathe in for 4, hold anywhere for 6 to 7, and then release for 8. Just makes you pause in between, but it doesn't have to be that number. It's just some number that you can count to hold space in between the breath. It could be a simple 1, 2, 3, inhale, pause, 2, 3, exhale, 2, 3, pause, 2, 3, something like that. Whatever works. I hope that breathwork practice served you. Feel free to use it anytime you need, including any time that you want to work with the sacred pause of the full moon. So I have a tarot reading. It's quite interesting. I pulled it yesterday when the moon first moved into Pisces. I wrote about it early this morning, talk about liminal spaces between 4 and 6 a.m. Finally got it published later at around noon, but I pulled the cards quite early and interpreted them pretty quickly. It all came through very quickly this time around, so I want to share that with you. But before I do, I'm just going to take a drink of water. I'm going to adjust my seat. I'm going to grab a deep breath. By the way, once we're done with this tarot reading, if we don't have anything else, we'll release our guides and guardians, closing our circle, and then we'll be done. So thank you for being here. We won't be here much longer. So I typically pull a past, present, future card. I thought that was super appropriate right now with this watery full moon in Pisces. When we think of water, we think of time as well, the river of time, past flowing into present, flowing into future. And so I like to pull 3 cards representing one of each of those chronological stages, just to give us a little insight and wisdom. I also feel that full moons are a really great time to be working with the tarot because it's a time when we can get messages from the other side, as I mentioned before. I'm going to take a deep breath, and then I'll show you these cards. So Calling on the energy of the cards to reveal to us whatever we need to see, hear, understand, and know. We thank you for the magic of the cards, and we thank you for the channeling that comes through. Thank you for letting me be a vessel to bring these important messages through. So for past, present, and future cards tonight, I got 2 reversed cards and 1 upright card. Can you guess which is which? You're about to find out. The first reversed card I pulled was for the past. Makes sense. I have the reversed Ace of Cups. I'm sorry. Reverse. Whoop. Cha-cha slide, anyone? I pulled the Ace of Wands. Sorry. Reversed as well. This is our past card. An Ace of Wands is usually a very exciting card. When you pull it up right, which I just had a client pull very recently, and she's making a lot of shifts and changes. Ace of Wands means new beginnings. Exciting ones. Quick change. Wands are a sign of magic. Do you believe in magic? That's the theme song of this lunar circle. This Ace of Wands represents magic and transformation, but when it's reversed, it does represent that change, but it means it's going to be a little slower. It's going to take some patience. It's not going to happen as quick as we expected. We may be experiencing some challenges and delays. You know, I think that's a pretty appropriate card for our past right now. We have experienced a lot of challenges and delays. Life is different. It's certainly changing. It's not in the way we expected. It's kind of in an upside down, what is happening? Who would have thought? This whatever kind of way. That's the reversed Ace of Wands for you. So this card is reminding us to, look at our past, but remember that it's all part of the process of change. And change doesn't happen overnight, neither does evolution. And this is going to take some time. We've got to be patient. We have to embrace our own magic along the way and trust in our ability to create our reality and to do what we need to do to continue to believe in that magic. We follow our heart. We trust in our joy, heart chakra, sacral chakra, green, yellow. So we just follow our heart. We trust our intuition. We believe in our magic. We continue to co-create our reality. And we just know that it's going to take a little bit of time. Just like these past 2 years have seemed to crawl along as my throat chakra clogs up there. For the present card, upright, judgment. Talk about present. By the way, I have a written interpretation of this tarot reading on my website. You can also find it on my social media, but it just kind of links you to my website. So just go there. The number 20 and 2 of them. 2020. XX 20. Double vision 2020. Yeah, there's been a lot of judgment that's come out of 2020 and everything that arose during that time out of the waters. Notice the ocean in the background. This card also has the planet of Pluto on it. There's Pluto up there in the corner. And Pluto is the planet of, power and control, currently in retrograde. And, I think this is a time when we're really taking back our power on multiple levels. We don't even have to talk about how. We're just taking back our power personally, collectively. There's been a big shift in power. There's been a shift in what we give our power to, in our energy and our focus. And ultimately, the Judgment card rises up to say, hey, it's time for a judgment detox. Thank you, Gabby Bernstein. Full moons are a time of release, right? This is in the present. It's a Pisces full moon. There's the ocean. It's time to release feelings of judgment on ourselves, on how we've behaved or taken action or lack of action over the past few years, how we've aligned or misaligned through this great awakening and this shift. We also have to release judgment on others, which I think is really strong right now. And even myself, I battle with this. And I thought it was so funny that I pulled this card for tonight, because I always feel like these readings, affect me on a personal level. It's a personal reading as much as a collective reading. And I had just said the other day, as I found myself judging, I said, man, I really need to do a judgment detox because I'm a Libra. I judge. It's what I'm assigned to the scales and judgment. It's what I do. But with this autumnal equinox and this full moon, I need to really work on that because it misaligns me. So if judgment is something that you are challenged with, I invite you to release it. This is an angel of truth blowing a horn to wake us up, to say, hey, face your truths, face your shadows, come to terms with your shadow side, your twin, that XX, take a good look in the mirror, so to say. And then this is your opportunity for redirection, a spiritual awakening. We are going through a spiritual awakening right now on many levels. And I think this full moon in Pisces is saying, hey, there's a lot of wisdom to be learned right now and over the next 2 weeks. So take advantage of it. Call on your angels to guide you. Call on your protection energy. Call on your dragons. Call on, that ignition of your kundalini. Ask for the kundalini to be activated so that you can harmonize, so that, the more the kundalini rises, again, another topic for another day, but the more the kundalini rises, the more we rise up into a higher evolution, a higher frequency, a higher consciousness, holy consciousness, Christ consciousness, Magdalena consciousness, Christos Sophia consciousness, the original consciousness. The original truth is that we are all God, Goddess, holy beings. We all have dragon energy inside. We all have the magic. But it's up to us, we have free will. We have divine free will to make change. We always have the opportunity to redirect and begin again. This is where the full moon comes in. This isn't a new moon, but it's a time of release. It's a time of redirection. If it's a time for you to let go of judgment, it's a time for you to arrive into a new you. Shed your layer, shed your skin. Do better, be better, rise higher. Rise up out of your waters that weigh you down. It's a good card. And then, spoiler alert, I already pulled it to show you, but our future card is the reversed Ace of Cups. Cups are a sign of emotion. Ace is a new beginning, right? And it's a little upside down. We feel as if we've been tossed about in our oceanic storms. We are now capsized in our boat, upside down. We are treading water. We are trying to survive. We do not know when help is coming. Everything seems a little dark and bleak, a little watery. But fear not, because we still have the ability to survive. We still have the ability to survive this. But again, it's going to take time. Reversed cards mean patience, challenges, more work to do. And I think this reverse cups is also inviting us to dive deep down into our emotional waters, into our womb space, into our shadows, and also down even deeper, down to the oceanic ground, down to the bottom of the ocean, our root chakra, more ancestral stuff that we've been kind of like pushing away into the murky waters, or, like dumping out at sea. It's time to start looking at all of that stuff as well, because it's going to get toxic. It's going to fester. It's going to become a wound if we don't start to address it now. Ace of Cups is all about balance. The reversed Ace of Cups is about balance in our life, our, especially our home life, our family life, our balance in our generational bloodline as well. It's a time for us to ask ourselves, how can we find more emotional stability, and how can we not only cultivate it within ourselves, but create it all around us? Okay. So this reversed Ace of Cups being pulled for a future card under this full moon in Pisces is saying, hey, do the deep work. Do the deep work. Dive into your shadows. Dive into your waters. Understand yourself better so that you can reprogram during this retrograde season that's continuing until December. We're going to come out of it in between a little bit of October and a little bit in December when it wraps up. But this retrograde season is a time for you to bring up those things from the surfaces of, or from the depths of your past. Let them rise up, but deal with them so that you can reprogram and you can redirect. And when we start to move forward in 2022 and just into the unforeseeable future, you're going to feel more right side up again. You're going to be able to float again. You're going to be able to go with the flow of this river of time. Okay. So the reverse Ace of Wands. Change is on the horizon. In fact, it's already happening now. We're deep in it. It's already begun. But it's not going to happen quickly. It's going to take a lot of patience and a lot of faith and a lot of trust that it's all for our greater good. Under this full moon of Pisces, it's time for a judgment detox. Let go of those lower frequencies that hold you down. Rise up into your holy higher self by facing your truths and understanding that that other side is just part of the balance, but you always have the ability to emotionally alchemize it and to vibrate higher. And as we move forward through the rest of this lunar cycle and the unforeseeable future, the Ace of Cups reminds you to do the deep work so that the future is different for yourself, for your family, for your bloodline, for the collective, for generations to come. How blessed are we to be doing the work now to raise the collective and the vibration of the future. So that's what I have for you tonight, loves. Do you have any questions, comments, any insight, wisdom, anything you would like to put in the comments? Please put it in the comments now. Otherwise, just thank you for being here. I'm going to release the guides and guardians in a minute. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time to work on yourself. I just noticed it just started storming outside. Like, just started thundering and raining and storming outside. Wow. That's potent. Talk about magic and dragon energy and ancestral protection and purifying Pisces, full moon, watery energy. Let it wash over us now. If you're local, I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to go get out in the rain after this. I think I'm going to do it. I got on my fishy shirt. I'm going to go purify under the rain after this. I love that. Well, that was unexpected. All right, I don't see any comments, but thank you so much for being here. I'm going to release the guides and guardians now, and we will seal our circle. But if you would like to tune in to my next circle, we'll be meeting on October 6th. October 5th. It is a Tuesday. It is the night before the new moon in Libra. The new moon in Libra will be happening in the morning of the 6th. So we will meet the night of the 5th, again here on the Vina Lene Facebook channel at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. I'm sorry, 7:45 p.m. Whoo, Mercury, I can feel you. 7:45 p.m. October 5th, Tuesday, honoring the new moon in Libra. That's when we will meet again. Otherwise, we'll meet for that full moon in Aries. And you can check my website, my calendar, and all that fun stuff for upcoming dates. So with that, I am going to move into a deep breath and sacred prayer to release our guides and guardians. Releasing the guides and guardians of the cosmos, the universe, anything beyond our earthly planet, with the element of ether. Bringing in that dragon magic, that cosmic magic, the magic of stardust that is in the cosmos and within ourselves. We trust in this connection to higher source, to vibrational light, and to the guidance that you have brought us from this space, the liminal spaces. We release you now, guides and guardians of the cosmos. Thank you for being here. We also release the guides and guardians of the north and the element of earth. All of our ancestors that have come before us, that have walked this path before us, that have learned deep lessons and have passed on wisdom now to us. We receive this wisdom from you. And we thank you, guides and guardians of the north, for being here. We thank the guides and guardians of the west and the element of water. These rains, this sense of purification, this energy of feeling cleansed. Thank you for bringing this element to wash over us now. We release you and thank you, guides and guardians of the West, for being here. And we thank the guides and guardians of the South and the element of fire for being present, helping us to burn away what no longer serves. Bringing in the energy of transformation, an energy that we always have within us, to shift, change, redirect whenever we feel it's best served. We release and thank the guides and guardians of the South for being here tonight. And finally, we thank the guides and guardians of the East and the element of air. Winds of change, a new dawn, a new age, a new beginning, and deep breaths of patience as we journey through it and navigate it all. We thank you for heightened prana, and the energy of our inhale to help us take action on making change and moving forward towards our dreams and higher evolution. We release and thank the guides and guardians of the East for being here tonight. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. And with that, our circle is sealed and completed. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Even if this is your first time, this is a powerful portal to create ceremony and ritual. By the way, if you'd like to know more about the moons or other things going on, make sure you sign up for my newsletter, vinalene.com. You'll find it there on the home page. I send out a newsletter every new moon and full moon and tell you a little bit more about what's going on, along with other lots of fun goodies to align with the moon. So make sure you're signed up for my email list if you're not already. And subscribe to my YouTube channel, where I'll be posting this replay if you happen to be watching it there, or if you don't, feel free to check out what I have to offer over there. I'll be doing more videos over there in the future. That's one liminal space I'm ready to tap into, being called to tap into now. So yeah, with that, I'm going to go breathe in the rain, purify myself, and then take a nice hot bath. So thank you for being here. I will see you on October 5th, 7:45 p.m. Central for our new moon in Libra. Until then, blessed be. Namaste.